Imagine four of the world's most powerful and influential countries: United States, China, India, and Pakistan, trapped together in a cramped, high-stakes elevator. The air is thick with tension, every movement watched, every word measured. Each nation brings its own ambitions, fears, and histories into this confined space, making the atmosphere even more volatile. It's not just a metaphor, it's a snapshot of today's global reality, where these four countries are forced to interact, compete, and sometimes clash on the world stage. The US and China are the heavyweight contenders, constantly jostling for dominance and influence, not just in Asia, but across the globe. Their rivalry sets the tone for international politics, economics, and even technology. Meanwhile, India and Pakistan, longtime adversaries with a history of conflict, are pulled into this global feud, their own disputes amplified by the larger power struggle between Washington and Beijing. This standoff isn't just about distant borders or abstract politics. It's about the smartphones in our pockets, the clothes on our backs, and the stability of the global economy. Every trade deal, every tariff, every diplomatic spat ripples out to affect ordinary people around the world, shaping what we buy, how we work, and even the security of our daily lives. America's long-standing dominance is now being challenged by China's rapid economic and military rise. At the same time, India is emerging as a major player, eager to assert its own influence, while Pakistan tries to navigate the storm, balancing its alliances and its own national interests in a rapidly changing world. The stakes couldn't be higher. It's a high-risk chess game, where every move, whether diplomatic, economic, or military, could send shockwaves across continents and shake the foundations of global stability. In this chapter, we'll break down why America and China are locked in such fierce rivalry, how their competition spills over to fuel India-Pakistan tensions, and why the disputed region of Kashmir has become a global flashpoint that the world can't afford to ignore. By the end, you'll understand why this region is now considered the world's most dangerous hotspot, and what the next moves on this global chessboard could mean for all of us. At the heart of today's global drama is the US versus China, a new Cold War but with trade, tech, and influence. America's long-held dominance is challenged by China's economic miracle and military buildup. The US pushes democracy and alliances. China champions its own model of growth and sovereignty. This rivalry is everywhere: trade wars, tech races, and a scramble for allies. The US strengthens old partnerships, while China builds new ones, especially in South Asia. Every move is countered, forcing other nations to pick sides or balance between giants. For India and Pakistan, this isn't abstract. It shapes their security and future. The US-China contest sets the stage, and South Asia is now one of its most dangerous arenas. The choices these superpowers make could ignite or calm the region. South Asia is now the chessboard for US-China rivalry. The US sees China's rise as a threat and partners with India, the world's largest democracy and a growing military power. China, feeling encircled, doubles down on its alliance with Pakistan, supplying arms and investing billions through the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, CPEC. CPC gives China direct access to the Arabian Sea, bypassing US-controlled waters. The result? A classic proxy setup. US backs India, China backs Pakistan. Every new arms deal or infrastructure project raises alarms on both sides. The local India-Pakistan rivalry is now supercharged by global competition. A small spark here could drag in the world's biggest powers. South Asia's crises are no longer local. They're global, with consequences for millions. The region's fate is now tied to decisions made in Washington and Beijing. Kashmir, a breathtaking region nestled in the Himalayas, has been at the heart of a bitter conflict between India and Pakistan since the moment of their independence in 1947. Its snow-capped peaks and lush valleys mask a history of violence, division, and deep-rooted mistrust. Both countries lay claim to Kashmir, resulting in multiple wars, countless skirmishes, and a heavily fortified, tense border known as the Line of Control. The region remains one of the most militarized zones in the world. For India, holding on to Kashmir is seen as essential for national unity and territorial integrity, a symbol of the country's secular identity and federal structure. For Pakistan, supporting Kashmir's Muslim-majority population is a matter of national principle and identity, rooted in the country's founding ideals. Decades of insurgency, frequent protests, and accusations of cross-border terrorism have kept the region volatile and its people living in uncertainty. Civilians often find themselves caught in the crossfire. In 2019, India revoked Kashmir's special autonomous status, sparking outrage in Pakistan, international concern, and a harsh security crackdown that further inflamed tensions. Today, the rivalry between the US and China is also entangled in Kashmir, adding a new layer of complexity to the conflict. China controls a portion of the region called Aksai Chin and has its own simmering border dispute with India, leading to occasional military standoffs in the high mountains. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, runs through Pakistan-controlled Kashmir, angering India and raising the stakes for China's strategic ambitions in the region. Any escalation here threatens billions of dollars in Chinese investment and could potentially draw both China and the US into a wider conflict. Recent terror attacks in Kashmir have brought India and Pakistan to the brink of war, with both sides placing their militaries on high alert and the world watching anxiously. India's new policy now treats any future attacks as acts of war, signaling a dangerous shift in its approach and raising fears of rapid escalation. Kashmir is no longer just a local dispute, it's a global flashpoint where local grievances, national pride, and international rivalries collide, making it one of the world's most dangerous powder kegs. The India-Pakistan conflict is being supercharged by outside powers arming both sides. The US supplies India with advanced helicopters, drones, and surveillance tech, cementing their alliance. China arms Pakistan with fighter jets, warships, and air defense systems, fueling an arms race. India diversifies, buying missile systems from Russia and collaborating with Israel. Pakistan turns to Turkey for advanced drones. This isn't just about weapons, it's about influence and strategic advantage. The result? A dangerous arms race, with each side confident it can win a short, sharp war. Modern weaponry raises the risk and potential destruction of any conflict. The region is now a proxy battleground for US, China, Russia, France, and Israel. Every new arms deal pours gasoline on a smoldering fire. The stakes and the risks keep rising. The military buildup in South Asia is staggering. China fields the world's largest army. India's is close behind, and Pakistan's is smaller but highly professional. The US Indo-Pacific Command adds hundreds of thousands more troops to the region. In the skies, China's advanced jets rival America's, while India and Pakistan race to upgrade their fleets. India's Rafales and Pakistan's Chinese JF-17S are locked in fierce competition. Missile defense is the new frontier. India's Russian S-400S versus Pakistan's Chinese HQ-9S. Each side builds better shields and sharper arrows, fueling an endless cycle. The nightmare India faces a two-front war against China and Pakistan. Military pressure means even a small border clash could spiral out of control. The region is a tinderbox. One spark could set it ablaze. The most terrifying factor: nuclear weapons. India, Pakistan, China, and the US all have nuclear arsenals. India and Pakistan's proximity and history make their nuclear rivalry especially dangerous. India pledges no first use, but that policy is under debate. Pakistan relies on tactical nukes to deter invasion. Even a limited nuclear exchange could kill millions and trigger global catastrophe. Recent tensions have brought this danger into sharp focus. The nuclear shadow forces caution, but any miscalculation could be apocalyptic. The stakes are existential. One wrong move could change the world forever. There's another war raging, an economic one. China's Belt and Road Initiative, with CPEC as its crown jewel, links Western China to the Arabian Sea through Pakistan. India and the US see CPEC as a threat to sovereignty and regional balance. The US and India counter with the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor, IMEC, aiming to bypass China and Russia. It's a battle for trade routes, influence, and the future of global commerce. Success for CPEC cements China's power. IMEC could boost India and its allies. This is 21st century empire building, fought with infrastructure, not armies. The outcome will reshape the region's and the world's economic future. As of mid-2025, South Asia stands on a razor's edge, just pulled back from the brink of war, but with tensions running higher than ever before. The region is gripped by uncertainty, and every decision feels like it could tip the balance toward either catastrophe or a fragile calm. The world's eyes are fixed on this volatile crossroads, where history, rivalry, and ambition collide. The future of South Asia now hinges on the fierce rivalry between the United States and China, the critical choices made in New Delhi and Islamabad, and the ever-present, unpredictable threat of terrorism. Each player is maneuvering for advantage, while ordinary people hope for stability. The nightmare scenario remains all too real. A devastating terror attack could trigger Indian military strikes, push Pakistan to the edge of defeat, and make the unthinkable, nuclear weapons, suddenly a real option. The consequences would be catastrophic, not just for the region, but for the entire world. In such a crisis, China and the US could be drawn in, escalating a local conflict into a global catastrophe. The risk of miscalculation or misunderstanding is dangerously high, with the world's most powerful militaries on alert. The best hope for the region lies in reluctant diplomacy, where both superpowers, despite their differences, pressure their allies to step back from the edge. Behind closed doors, intense negotiations and back-channel talks become the only way to prevent disaster. Achieving real peace would demand bold leadership and genuine compromise from all sides, qualities that are rare but not impossible to find. It would mean setting aside old grievances and choosing dialogue over confrontation. Yet, the most likely outcome is a tense status quo, occasional skirmishes, ongoing arms races, and fragile ceasefires that could break at any moment. The threat of escalation will continue to loom over the region. Meanwhile, economic competition will only intensify, as South Asia remains a key arena for great power rivalry. Trade, technology, and influence are all at stake, shaping the lives of millions. The fate of millions of ordinary people, families, workers, and children, depends on whether these four nations can find a way to avoid disaster and build a more stable future. The world watches anxiously, hoping that wisdom, restraint, and diplomacy will ultimately prevail over the forces of war.